Coming up on episode 107 of Creative Writing, I'm talking about why your blog isn't growing.
I can't go back to sleep, it's almost light. These restless thoughts have kept me up again tonight.
Hello and welcome to Creative Writing. This is the podcast for you, a writer, blogger, or creative, and you're trying to grow an online platform without being smarmy. So today we're talking about growth, and this is the first in a 4-part series, unless I add any extras in there, at least a 4-part series on why isn't my audience growing. And we are going to start today talking about blogs and why your blog isn't growing. So before we get into that, I just wanted to say a thank you to all of you for listening. I took the summer off, came back. You guys met me with a bang, and just the response has been really, really great. I'm so glad that you guys are here. And if this is your first time, welcome. You are welcome here. I am changing up the format just a tiny bit, so I'm going to put all the announcements at the end, but just a teaser so you don't stop listening before you get to them. I have a book coming out this week, and I'm offering a really special deal on the book, plus a course that goes along with it. So you definitely want to stick around to listen to that at the end. It's 31 Small Steps to Grow Your Blog, which I wrote 2 years ago and just finished updating. It's amazing. So you definitely want to stick around to hear about how you can get your hands, your digital hands, because it's digital. I haven't done the print version yet. So your digital hands on this book. With that in mind, let's get into why isn't my blog growing? Now, just as a caveat to this whole series, I may say some things that are kind of hard to hear. Because here's the reality. We're troubleshooting, right? We're talking about things that are not working. And that means taking a long, hard look and actually evaluating what you're doing. The other thing I want to say is that not every bit of advice is right for every person. So I'm going to give you my opinions here. And this comes from 10 plus years of blogging experience and being in this online space, coaching and helping other people with all different kinds of blogs and businesses and books and things that they're doing. So this doesn't just come from the things I've learned, in the last year or two. This comes from a long time in the digital space. So they're opinions, but they're pretty informed opinions. So you take what I say, and if it's something where you're like, I'm just not doing that. I understand. And often I feel that way with new things or hard things to hear. So if something's really hard for you, here's what I want to suggest. Take a few days. Be cranky about it. You can even send me an email if you're mad. I feel like I'm being too scary. It's not that bad, you guys, but just in case, because we're all sensitive. These are our babies we're talking about. So if you're upset, take a few days, let the cranky be cranky, and then kind of come back and say, okay, is this true, or is this something I don't need to listen to? Because the reality is, with different kinds of advice and best practices and all those things, you really do need to think about, is this something I need to do? This is a best practice, but is that the best practice for me? So I want you to really think seriously about these things. I don't want you to just write them off. And some of them are pretty common things, but I'm going to dive into why and get a little serious with you. So if it's upsetting to you or you're taking it personally, just try to take a step back and then maybe find a blogging buddy. Find somebody in the creative writing group. Maybe we can do this for each other and ask for an honest opinion and feedback. And maybe you'll find that the things I'm saying don't apply to you, but I bet that they do, even if you don't want them to. So it might be a little bit of real talk, hard to hear stuff, and that's okay because the whole goal is to grow. And that's what I want for you. I want this to be helpful, but sometimes you really have to be just super honest and take that real look. So now that you're all terrified, let's go ahead and get into why your blog isn't growing. And I'm going to start with kind of where I got the idea for this whole series. I was in a Facebook group, which is kind of where I feel like I spend half my life. And someone asked a question and they were really disheartened. They were down. They said they'd been, blogging for over, I don't remember how, a year or two and trying really hard and doing all the things. And they just weren't growing and they didn't know why. So they left a link And I went through and actually looked. I don't always do this. It wasn't my group. My group, I try to answer all the comments and questions. This wasn't my group, but I was just kind of curious. And they caught me at a moment where I had time. So I went and looked. And then I went and looked at the comments. And I felt like every comment was misleading. So the person's blog, let's just say it first of all, was not super attractive to look at and just was making some kind of major mistakes. But people were glossing over the major mistakes and they were saying things like, oh, you just need to post to social media more. Oh, you just need to be on Pinterest. You're not on Pinterest. Oh, just spend time on Facebook. All the things basically were about promotion. And they were missing some really big elements. And so I commented with some of the things I'm going to say today. And I feel like people just kept coming in after that and going back to this whole thing like you're just not doing enough. And I want to say we're going to talk about promotion, which is going to lead into next week about why your social media is not growing. But promotion is kind of the last thing that we're going to talk about today. But the first and most major reason that I think your blog may not be growing is because you are not writing for other people. You're writing for you. Now, I'll explain what this means. When I first started blogging, I was writing for me. And like my mom, I was writing about pregnancy and I was across the country from everybody in my family. And so I wanted to sort of put baby bump pictures on there and talk about the fact that we were having a home birth, which everybody thought was crazy. And so that's why I started my blog. And it really was for me. I wrote like a journal almost. I mean, and that's what blogs were back in the day. So that was over 10 years ago that I did that. And, you know, it was just for me. I wasn't thinking about who else would read it except for like my mom. I wasn't trying to grow a blog. That was just on the horizon for what blogs were doing. They didn't have the sense of power that they have today. So I see a lot of people still doing that. And what I mean by writing for you and not your audience is this. And again, we're getting kind of harsh here. We're getting kind of real. That often our lives are not as interesting as we think they are. So this guy, I'll just kind of go back to and use this person who was asking the question in the Facebook group as an example. His blog, basically, you know, I went to the main page and all of the first posts were all just sort of like, you know, my time in so-and-so. It was not a travel blog, but a lot of the posts were about travel. I guess he'd recently been somewhere. My first day in so-and-so. My second day in so-and-so. And those were kind of the posts. And then there was like tips for being a good grandpa or something. That was not it. I don't want you guys to go find this guy's blog because that's not specific to him. I'm just using that as an example. But none of the posts were anything I wanted to read. And not just because I'm not a grandpa, but it was one, not very cohesive. Like my day in Rome, which is not where it was, didn't really fit into me with the whole tips for being a good grandpa or whatever that other post was. And overall, you know, I think I did click to one post, but it was just kind of like this person recounting his day in Rome. And while Rome is interesting, you know, there was nothing to draw me in. As someone just hitting this blog for the first time, I didn't care. There was nothing for me to latch onto. And I don't mean that to sound harsh that I didn't care, but you guys know this. We're all super busy. The world that we live in, especially the online world, is so cluttered and crammed with information and posts we could be reading that when it comes to reading a stranger's account of their first day in Rome, why? Why would I read that? And that's the mistake I think a lot of us make, is that there's still this idea that if we just write it, people are going to be interested enough. But I think the problem is that we're not always that interesting. And there are exceptions to this. And there are people who are either super, super good writers, and we're going to get to writing style today. So they're either super good writers or they're celebrities, or they have that kind of like X factor that Simon Cowell always talked about in American Idol. I loved American Idol, you guys. Huge fan. I actually tried out for American Idol, just a side note. But he always talked about the X factor, that people sometimes had that thing, that sparkle that you can't always pinpoint, but some people have it. And that is a reality, you guys. I know, I don't feel like people talk about that enough. Sometimes blogs really do rise to the top because the person writing, there's just something about them. And it's the same thing in the music industry and the movie industry and different things, that sometimes people just have something extra and it draws people in. We aren't all like that. We aren't all going to have people clamoring to read about our daily life. So when you're writing a blog, if your goal is to grow, and this is really big thing to think about is your goal, because if you just want to write about your life, then write about your life, but don't care about blog growth, or don't think you're going to have this stellar arc, upward of your blog growing, because people don't have the time to care about you. They don't. So your blog, if your goal is not just to write a journal, if your goal is to grow, if you want to monetize, if you want to build your author platform, then you need to blog with the audience in mind, and you need to blog for them. Now, this doesn't mean you can't tell personal stories. In fact, I think posts like the one I just kind of gave the example of, the tips for being a good grandpa, those kind of posts about tips and things like that, they work best when story is woven in and there's something personal, which again, that's going to be the third thing we talk about. So this first one is just about writing for other people, but you need to be considering the other person. What about your post is drawing somebody in? What are you offering them? What benefit are you giving them? How are you helping them with a problem they have? And maybe that problem is they need to be entertained. So if you're just writing beautiful posts, like think about somebody like Ann Voskamp. And if you don't know who she is a Christian writer, and she breaks a lot of the blogging rules, including, I'm not sure if she still does this, but she used to, at least. When you go to her blog, there's music automatically playing, which I would say like 99% of the world hates that. So she broke a lot of the rules. She writes these very long posts. They're very poetic. There's lots of photos, interspersed that are huge. She breaks a lot of the rules that generally people say, but she's a beautiful writer and she resonates with so many people. And so her purpose is not to teach you how to do something. Her purpose is kind of to encourage, and sometimes even like in the Christian sense, teach or exhort. Exhort is kind of a fancy Christian word. If you've grown up in the church, you're like, I know exhortation. And if not, just pretend I used a different word, because that just kind of came out. But her goal is not to teach you tips for getting like pee stains out of carpets. Like that's not her thing. Her thing is to encourage. So you might be someone who's writing things that are to encourage, to entertain, to inspire, or you might be someone who is writing things to help someone do a specific task. Either way, there has to be a benefit to your reader if it's just about you, unless you have that X factor or are a phenomenal writer or already a celebrity. People do not want to read your blog. Okay. Are you still with me? Harsh stuff. Let's keep going and get even more harsh with number 2, which is blog design. Okay, you guys. So we are in the time and place and world in 2017 where you cannot get away with having a straight out of the box blogger site. You can't. Okay. And WordPress, I feel like the out of the box WordPress sites with the free themes, they're still not fantastic, but they're a little bit more basic. When you hit, when I hit a site, someone links to something, whether in my group or someone else's group, and I head over there and it's on Blogger, you can tell that it's on Blogger. It does not look professional. It does not look clean. It typically looks messy, and it looks more like the old style blog, where it was just an online diary, which again, if that's your goal, that is an awesome and fine and totally okay goal. You just have to have reality that you're not going to grow in leaps and bounds and become a giant blogger. Okay. That's just the reality. That's fine. But it's not enough. It's not enough to use one of the cutest blog on the block kind of templates in Blogger. And it's not enough to have, I've seen sites that are coded. I don't know what. I hit a site the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, we're in 1997 again. Most people I see are not that bad. Like it's like you kind of have to try to get a really bad website. But I did work with someone once who insisted on hard coding his own site and it looked terrible and he just wouldn't listen. And that's fine. Again, it's about choices. What I want to say is this. A lot of you are listening and you might be frustrated because you can't afford a designer, you can't afford these fancy templates or anything else. You don't know about blog design. I know when I switched from Blogger to WordPress, I had no idea what to do. I had just gotten good at messing with the HTML stuff in Blogger and making my site look like a real site. At least a little bit. I thought it did. And now that I look back, I'm like, no, it still looked just kind of like a Blogger blog, not like a real website. Blogs today look like websites. So if you are in this boat where like, I don't have the money, I just can't, I'm super frustrated, I wish you wouldn't say this, why are you picking on me? I have the cutest blog on the block, template over in Blogger. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just letting you know, if you don't keep up with the Joneses, and in this, the Joneses are the big bloggers, then your blog stands out not in a good way. So here are some affordable things that you can do if that's you and you're just like, I know my blog stinks, but I can't afford it. Okay, a couple of things, and these are going to cost some degree of money, okay? So wordpress.org, there are some free templates. And if you're going to use a free template, what I would say is this: your blog will look more professional the less you have on it. Okay. The less you do, the better. The more white space, the fewer widgets and gadgets and things flashing, the fewer things in your sidebar, simple and clean. Even if you can't afford an awesome logo or any kind of logo, you can just have the name of your blog and all the important things that people look for on a pretty white blog. Yes, it's boring. And you guys, let me just tell you, I had to convert to this. This was not me. I fought this. My blog first it was just on Blogger and it was just terrible. And I've actually taken this down. This was still hatepickles.com. I took it down mostly because I had literally thousands of posts and I did not, I started back when people didn't know you weren't supposed to use images you found off Google. And so I'm sure that I have tons of violations for different things that now I could be sued for, and people are doing that. And I did not have the time to go through thousands of posts to take out any images or things I should not have used that I did, because back then nobody knew that. And that's a big deal now. So anyway, that blog is gone. I'll try to find some screenshots for you guys, but it started out, it was just kind of normal. And then I got a friend who's a designer, designed a logo, which I still loved. I'll find that and put it in the show notes. It was a flaming pickle and it said, still hate pickles. Just side note, I hate pickles. And people kept telling me, when you get pregnant, you'll love them. No, I don't. I didn't. And so that was my blog because it was about pregnancy. So I had that great little graphic on there. And, then I made the sides yellow and the blog post in the middle was white. And then I got real creative and was like, I love creative, weird stuff. And so I got like alligator skin, some kind of background, and it was like blue and gray. And anyway, y'all, does that sound good? I mean, you're probably trying to even figure out what that looks like. So again, I'll try to find some screenshots. It was not good, but I'm not a designer and I like quirky stuff. So I loved it. Now, when I moved to WordPress, I really did have to convert. I used to hate blogs that were just lots of white and white space. They were so boring. Yeah. If you're used to alligator print backgrounds on your blog, it's a little bit boring. But I will tell you, as someone landing on a blog, when you land on a blog, the more shiny stuff everywhere, it looks cluttered, messy, unprofessional. And even if blog design is not your thing, that will keep people from reading your words. Let me just say that again. Blog design will keep people from reading your words. So if you're a writer out there, because again, I feel you guys, this was me. I'm like, I just want people to read my stuff. I don't care what my blog looks like. Well, they're not going to read your stuff if your blog looks like trash. It affects the way people think about your blog. And I've read some great blogs on Blogger, but it's almost like I had to get over the hump of being like, when I hit the site, because it was really unattractive or really out of date looking. And that impacted the way I read their words. It impacted everything. And so I don't know if you guys have done any of those psychological studies or anything like that, where you've seen or heard about how the packaging that you do impacts things so much. The way your blog is designed is that impact, okay? So if you can't afford it, you can go to WordPress. If you can't afford to pay someone, you can do the free WordPress things, keep it simple, keep it clean. You could, if you're on Blogger, you're probably going to have to pay someone a lot of money to make it not look like a Blogger blog. Just saying. Squarespace is another option. I think it's about $7 a month. It's like a drag and drop template. I feel like if you don't have the money to pay someone to do WordPress and you don't want to figure it out yourself, go with Squarespace. It can meet all of your basic needs and it's very pretty. There's a great free course by Megan Minns, that's Minns, on Squarespace. If you just look up Squarespace free course, you'll probably find hers. I took it and, played around with Squarespace. Again, they pay for your hosting and everything else. So that's a great cheap option. You can also find people in different blogging groups. I really love Mary Dennis from WP Tech Cafe. That stands for WordPress Tech Cafe. She does WordPress and uses Beaver Builder and is really great at what she does, and also way more affordable. I mean, I hear people all the time in groups like, well, I've set aside $3,000 for a blog design. No, you don't need that. You don't need a developer. You just need somebody that can help you get something kind of basic. You could use a theme from Restored 316. Those are like $100 or less, and it's a great investment. They do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. They have video tutorials to help you set it up. I just set up 2 of them. I'm not quite done with them on my blogs, but we're working on it because I'm busy, you guys. Just to let you know, there are affordable options. You don't have to spend tons and tons of money, but you do need to do something that is going to make your blog not turn people away before they see your words, okay? Especially you writers, I'm speaking to you. If you want people to read your words, you can't scare them off with your blog design. Whew, I feel like I'm like preaching some kind of like really like convicting sermon. That's what this feels like. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I'll be really interested in y'all's reactions. I hope I'm not being too harsh. Again, real talk. I want you guys to know if you really want your blog to grow, these are the reasons, okay? So the first was you're writing just for you. The second was blog design. The third is your writing style or your voice. And when I went to Podcast Movement, I got to hear a guy named Eric Nuzum speak, and he did a really great job talking about story, character, and voice. And I almost didn't go. I actually had to introduce him, which is why I went. And because I thought, oh, I know story, character, and voice, but it still was really just a great reminder of the things I know. But he talked about how important it is, and he was talking about podcasting, but just storytelling in general, you have to have your unique perspective. So as I mentioned when I was talking about writing just for you, if you're just writing something that's just straight up tips, that's going to be kind of like a BuzzFeed, blog where it's just tips. Like it could be any blog. You could change the name, you could take yourself out of it and sell it, and somebody else could do it and it wouldn't matter. The thing that is going to make it unique is the voice, your framing, your unique perspective, and how you put that into words on your blog. So that if you are writing a post about parenting, for example, and there's a million posts on parenting, how is yours different? What is it about your perspective that frames parenting in a unique way that keeps people reading? And I'll link in the show notes to a post I did a while ago where I think I actually even have a free guide talking about branding your writing voice. And by branding, that's kind of one of those fancy words. People think a lot about images and things like that when they think of a brand, but the brand is kind of the overall persona. And when we are writing online, whether you're on Facebook or writing on your blog, you are creating a persona of yourself. You're not giving everybody everything. You are including some things, you're leaving some things out. That's just how it is. It's not a bad thing. It's not deceptive. Although, I mean, there are people online that are deceptive intentionally. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about the Instagrammers who like Photoshop people out of their photos so they can have a better photo. Like that's not the reality that we're doing. Or the entrepreneurs who rent a Lamborghini to take a picture with it to make it look like they're successful. That's not what I mean. I mean, it's editing down the way that you tell your stories and the kind of stories you tell, and even the sort of overarching story that goes through everything that you do. So let me give you my example kind of from my lifestyle blog. And I've gone back and forth with this, and I'm not posting there a whole lot, but back when that was my main focus, I really struggled because I'm very eclectic. Have you noticed? I like to write about a lot of things. I wrote about parenting. I did recipes, roller derby, pregnancy, sometimes tips and household things, sometimes blogging. I mean, it was just all over the place. And I was trying to think what ties it together, what ties these things together. And what I finally came up with that was the tagline of my blog for a long time was this: an eclectic celebration of chaos. So eclectic, if you don't know that word, means kind of varied, like a lot of different kinds of things, which obviously is there. Celebration, I really wanted to have joy carry through the stories that I told and humor. And chaos because y'all, even back when I started, I guess when I started, I had no kids. But now we have 5, and every step along the way, it's been kind of chaotic. Our life is just a little crazy. We had 1, 2, and 3 kids. I was doing roller derby. My husband's a youth pastor. He was, we're just really busy people and doing things that are kind of not the normal busy, like not the typical suburb parents kind of busy. it is chaos, and I wanted to celebrate it. It felt often out of control. Parenting still feels very out of control to me sometimes, but I wanted it to be a celebration. And so that was something that I tried to think about, like, how does this post fit into that overall theme? And how can I write in a way that encompasses that theme? So this is something else that I think really matters. And I think it's the reason why some people, like if you think about the bloggess or Heather Armstrong from Deuce, why, or even Ree Drummond from the Pioneer Woman, these people have a unique perspective and they have a writing voice that really comes alive. One of the podcasts I've been enjoying oddly lately is I Hate Green Beans. And I actually don't hate green beans, but the girl behind it, Lindsay Ray, she does entertainment. She does recaps of The Bachelor. I do not watch The Bachelor. I did maybe years ago because it was really fun to yell at the television because that show is terrible, y'all. But she is so funny. And her blog started, she had that it factor with her writing, you guys. She started writing an email to a few friends that was a Bachelor recap. And those friends forwarded it and forwarded it and forwarded it till there were like more than 100 people that she was personally emailing who had emailed her saying, please include me with the next recap. And that's how her blog started, that somebody was like, hey, it'd be a lot easier to write a blog about that. And then now her full-time job is this freelance writing. She writes for Entertainment Weekly. She has this podcast, all because she had a unique voice. There were tons of Bachelor recaps out there, you guys. There still are. But all those people aren't getting to ask to write for Entertainment Weekly. It's because of her writing voice and the unique style and the way that she writes. So that may be a great blog to go check out to see what I'm talking about. And I think if you think about your favorite blogs, you may start to recognize that particular writing voice and that perspective. And that is a really huge thing. So now for those of you guys who are writers and really creative and were like super frustrated that I said you have to write for other people and blog design, hopefully you're tracking a little bit more with me now. But I think those are three, and those aren't all, but those are the top three things I think that don't let your blog grow, that keep you from growing, that hold you back, because people hit your site, they don't see anything unique. They see a blog design that turns them off or kind of colors the way that they see and read your words. And it's not about them. There's nothing that draws them as the reader into your words. It seems like a story just told for you. So those are the top three. The fourth one is promotion. And that's where it finally gets into what everybody else in that thread was saying in the Facebook group, where they're like, just promote more, just promote more, just promote more. And, I said in the thread in a really nice way, maybe nicer than I said today in the podcast, hey, you can promote as much as you want, but if you're not writing content that speaks to other people, no one's going to read it. Your blog will not grow. So that's what I want to say to you guys today. So if you're feeling icky and sad, this is meant to be encouraging, right? If you want to grow your blog, I almost said blow your grog. If you want to grow your blog, and then these are things you need to consider. And maybe you need to consider if you really do want to grow your blog, or if you want to grow it, but maybe not in exponential leaps and bounds, because there are people all over the place who are growing in leaps and bounds. And if you ask them about any of these things, they will tell you. And I know that I've talked to a number of bloggers, especially when I was doing like the Profitable Blogging Summit and just interviews. And almost all of them said they really started to grow when they stopped writing for themselves and started writing for their audience, telling stories, and when they started taking blog design seriously. Those are the top three. So promotion I'm going to save, because next week we're going to talk about why isn't my social media growing? It is important to promote. You do have to promote. You can't just write and think people will find you unless you are stellar at SEO, and most of us aren't. So it's great to combine SEO with, promotion. Those are two sort of different prongs that you can reach out and use. We'll talk about social media next week, but these are the reasons your blog might not be growing. So again, take some time, digest. You can be mad at me. You can send me angry emails, and then come back to it. Circle back around and think, okay, no, really, like if you want to grow, do I need to consider this? If I want to grow my blog, do I need a blog design? Do I need to hire someone? Do I need to just get a basic Squarespace site or a free WordPress theme and make it super uncluttered? Do I need to do that? Do I need to work on my writing voice? I'm a writer, you guys, but I had to work on my writing voice intentionally to make my blog better. These are important things. And this is why your blog might not be growing. Okay, so let's move into the portion of the show where I'm going to talk about things coming up and exciting stuff. Now, I need to come up with a name because that sounds terrible. Who wants to keep listening to that? You do if you want to hear about book news, but yeah, help me come up with like a name for this section of the show because news and updates is really boring. I don't want that. So you guys in the Facebook group, which is createifwriting.com/community, I'm going to start a thread. You guys have to help me like name these sections of the show. So we're going to talk about updates. I'm back to podcasting. And one of the big things I'm changing is I have started doing Patreon. And what that is a sponsored way to support the show. So you can pledge as little as $1 or as much as you want. Actually, $10 is, I've got like limits and rewards up to $10 per episode. But you could give $100 an episode. That's cool. If that's the overflow of the abundance of your life, that's totally fine. But you can give as little as $1 per episode. There are rewards for every level. And you can find out more about that if you go to createifwriting.com/Patreon. That's Patreon. I had a moment where I couldn't remember how to spell. So that's where you can go to check out the different levels. If you pledge $4 per episode, which is going to be $16 a month, because I'm not going to have anybody pay for more than 4 episodes, then you will get into the private Facebook community, which is a fantastic place to go. There are shout outs in the quick fix, my Friday emails, and more. So speaking of the quick fix, I am sending the first one this Friday. You do not want to miss it. createifwriting.com/quick fix. These are my Friday emails. They are resources, links, news, information, and helpful things for you to grow your audience without being smarmy. That's why we're all here, right? Growing, but not being gross about it. So that's what you're going to find in the quick fix on Fridays. I'm also going to be sending a Monday email that's super short, just saying, hey, the blog is up. Here's where you can listen. Here's where the post is, the blog post. So subscribe to my email to get that. And now I'm going to talk about the book. So I just revamped my book, 31 Small Steps to Grow Your Blog. This is over 100 pages, which sounds crazy, but it's also a workbook. So there's some things for you to fill out. It's 31 simple things. Most of the steps are like 2 pages plus 1 to 2 pages actually, plus the, workbook part of the book. So I'm selling it first as a PDF. There will be an Amazon version, probably without the workbook, because who needs a workbook on their Kindle, right? So there will be an ebook version. Right now it's the PDF. And what I'm going to be doing as I launch is I have an accompanying course, which was mostly born out of the summer school. Blog Growth Boost is the name of the course. It's got your blog growth sections. It's got sections on SEO. Traffic. It's all about how to build your blog. So it doesn't go like step by step with the 31 small steps, because some of the 31 small steps are things that don't need any more explanation, and some of them do. So Blog Growth Boost has a really deep dive into SEO with interviews from fantastic people. I've been working on my SEO and actually had to hire somebody, you guys, because I screwed things up that badly. Not working on my blog, but like I screwed things up, setting them up, and had some issues that I had to pay somebody to come and fix. And don't do what I do. Do something different. But you probably don't have those, okay? This was like a weird, complicated problem I caused. So yes, SEO, posts, interviews on traffic, talking about different social media platforms, talking about blog design, all of this stuff. So I have a special price for you guys on the book plus the course. So you could just get the book. You can get the PDF version of the book. It's going to be, I believe, $4.99, but I'm also offering the course at $27. So if you get both, there'll be a special price for that. And actually the course is normally $97. So $27 is the special price, but there's going to be an even more special thing just going on for a week as I launch 31 Small Steps to Grow Your Blog. If you want to find out about this, you can go to createifwriting.com/blog book. So if you want to find out how you can get this book, which is going to help you grow your blog, no weird tactics, no try this proven method and just 5 easy steps and you're going to make $1 million. That's not stuff that works, you guys. Don't buy that stuff. There are some people who have great books that have numbers in the titles, about 6K whatevers and things like that. But a lot of that is just sales. It's just sales. And I will tell you, I wrote the book 2 years ago. Other than updating stuff on social media platforms, the information and the content holds true, and it's how I've grown my blog. So you want to get your hands on that if you're working on growing your blog, createifwriting.com/blog book. And if it's not ready yet, there's going to be like a countdown timer and pre-order stuff. I did get the cover done. My cover designer did that thing where like you have a word at the end of a line and then also the same word at the beginning of the sentence. So he sent me the cover and I was like, I love it. I love it. I love it. And then I looked at it for like 2 more minutes and was like, oh, it's 31 small steps to grow your blog is how it read. So he had to fix that. So I'm still putting that back together now that I've gotten it from him. Yep. That happened. So anyway, it's all done now. And I would love for you to get it if you're interested in growing your blog with actual things. They are proven and they're things that have lasted over the years to grow your blog. This is it for the week, you guys. I'm so happy again to be back. It was weird the first night recording alone in a room again because it's been months, but I love it. I know that you're out there listening and I'm so happy to have you as my listeners. I feel privileged to be here speaking into your ears. So thank you for listening. Stop by the Facebook community and say hi. We'll have conversations together with other wonderful creatives. That's over at createifwriting.com/community. And the best thing you can do to support the show, you guys, tell a friend, tell 10 friends, tell 100 friends. Do you have 100 friends? Tell them about the podcast if you get something out of this. And if you're still listening, kudos to you. Now help me think of a creative name for this last part of the show. Got it? Got it. All right. Go out there. Think about why your blog might not be growing. Take some time, deep breaths, be mad at me for a little while, then come back, make some changes. Cheers to your blog growth, guys. And I hope you have an inspired week.